welcome back, you guys. Today we're going to be reviewing a brand new palette that is just recently launched, and it is the new Pat McGrath palette here. This is their Mothership Mega Celestial Divinity palette that came out for the holiday season. They just recently launched like a bunch of stuff, and I believe now it is like available everywhere. I could be wrong, but I will put the information here on where it's available, but also in the description box. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to be talking a little bit about this. I'm going to show you guys swatches of the palette, and then we're going to do a first impressions. And if you guys are looking for something specific, whether it's just swatches or you guys want to see how I got this eye look, if you guys look at the scroll bar down below, there will be markers down there, so you can kind of go to wherever it is that you want, or you guys could just hang out with me and watch the entire video, which I always appreciate. But we're going to go ahead and get diving into this video, and let's do this. So thrilled to be doing this video with you guys because it is my first Pat McGrath palette, and we all know Pat McGrath is super expensive. So when they said that they were coming out with this palette and that it was only going to be $70, I know most of us are probably like, that's still a lot of money, but when it comes to Pat McGrath, $70, in my opinion, for a Pat McGrath palette is super cheap. In the comments, there was a lot of feedback about the fact that there was only going to be 3 mattes in this palette, and a majority of this palette was going to be shimmer based. Now, I was okay with that because number one, it was $70, and number two, I actually have a few matte palettes that are my staple matte palettes already, so I thought this would be a really good palette to add to that collection. 3 matte shadows that she has in here, I think primarily work well for a lot of the shades in here because you can get a lot of those more richer, warmer cranberry vibes. But when it comes to like the greens and like this blue brown shade and stuff, I feel like that rich mahogany shade might kind of, I don't know, I don't really like pairing those two colors together. So even though there's only 3 matte shadows in here, I feel like all 3 matte shadows that are in the palette will do a good job with working with a majority of these shades. So I feel like, yes, there's only 3 mattes, but you'll be able to play around with a lot of these shades and just use the 3 shades that are in here, because you get a light, more dusty rose shade, and then you get like a rich cranberry shade, and those two will primarily be a really good suitable, you know, crease and transition zone for a lot of these shades. And then you have this mahogany, which is what I used on my lower lash line, and that one there, super pigmented, but again, you can play around with the shade and make it work with a lot of these shadows. So I think the 3 mattes that she did choose for the palette to go with this palette actually work really well with it. So you kind of almost don't have to dive into another palette if you really didn't want to. But I myself could see myself diving into another palette for maybe like the greens and the more champagne and gold shades that are in here. So let's go ahead and do some swatches really quickly. Here you have row number 1. Each one that is on here, each swatch that is on here is just one swatch with a finger, just a finger swatch. That is how pigmented this palette is. This right here is the mahogany shade, which is the only matte shadow in this row. And then I will say that I did play around with this gold one. This is the only one, this like gold champagne shade is the only one that I feel like I had the most issue trying to pack on when I played around with it today. But you could just see very vibrant for a one swatch. All right, so here you have the second row. Again, this is probably my favorite row of them all. So here is your only matte shade in this palette, which is that deep cranberry. Then you have this, on here, I want to say that this is kind of like a duochrome. On here, it doesn't look like it, but when you actually see it in person, I swear you guys, there's like reflex of like green, silver, purple, pink. It's very hard to see. This duochrome right here, it's got a lot of those different shifts in color to it. But this green right here, I cannot wait to play with that green. That was like that was like one of the shadows that I just could not get my eyes off of. So that there is row number 2. And then you have your last row. This here is the only matte shadow on that row. It's your dusty rose shade. All of these down here on this row are just so different and unique. The top one is definitely a duochrome. It has like a yellow and there's a little bit of gold in it, and then the pink reflect. This deep like purple black shade right here just reminds me so much of like the galaxy. Very cool. The other duochrome, which is here, probably my least favorite one, has got to be this like blue brown one. I just see it so many times. I'm not like super impressed with it, but and then you have this gold shade. Again, this one's like a gold, but it's got a little reflect of like silver in it as well. And then this last one, you can just see it looks like it's brown at one point from like the sides, but then it has that like pink shift to it. I did not really understand the hype with Pat McGrath's like duochromes and her shimmers and everything like that. I mean, I always thought, you know, I just never really knew what to expect. And I've always heard people talk about how amazing her shimmers were, her metallics and her duochromes and all that stuff. But I don't think you really understand just the richness and the vibrancy and just how different they are than other shadows that you have in your collection. Like, they aren't really just one shade. They have so many different shades within that shade, and you just see so many different colors that no matter how you move your eyes around, it just reflects so differently when it's on the eyes. It's so cool. I am so impressed with this palette. I'm so excited to have this palette in my collection. I think it's gonna be amazing when it is compared, when it's like brought in with other palettes. I think it's gonna be a really good palette. I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna dive into the actual clip of me using the eyeshadow palette, and then you guys can see how it's going to perform on my eyes. If you guys are interested in this palette, I will have all the information linked down below so you guys can check it out, but let's go ahead and get into this. I'm so excited about this palette. It has been a very, very long time since I've been this excited to play around with, well, it hasn't been that long, but it's been a while since I've been like super hyped up to try out a new palette and to really figure out how it works. I own nothing from Pat McGrath palette wise. Like, I do own a couple other things from the brand, but as far as like the formula, or like as far as the palette goes, the eyeshadows, this is like all a new first. It's all new to me. This is a first, so I'm very excited to see how it performs. This is the palette right here. And then on the back side, you have the names of all of the shades in here. So I noticed it immediately, and this is gonna bother me so much, but like the sticker that's on here, it's crooked. I know, I shouldn't be complaining, but when I'm spending $70, that's like, I don't know why that's bothering me. Here is what the palette looks like, and it's got the ribbon on the side right here to hold the top in place. But there you have it. So let's go ahead and take this bottom matte shade, which is called Dragonfly. So I'm going to take Dragonfly, and I'm going to use that all over my lid. I don't know what her palette's like. I don't know what her formula's like, so I'm very excited. Right off the bat, I can definitely say that this color is pigmented. I'm actually going to move around my camera a little bit so I can see you guys. So far, good color. I actually build really quickly. So I'm not going to be applying a lot of colors to my eyes today, especially like in my crease. I'm probably going to take like 1 or 2 more colors and I'll be done. You guys can probably tell, but my eyes are super raw. Don't know what is going on. But I've had issues with dryness around my eye area, and I haven't changed up my skincare at all. I added a humidifier to my room because I thought maybe that the air was too dry, but that doesn't seem to be, I mean, it's helping a little bit. It's definitely helping like my breathing and everything, but I've been drinking a bunch of water. It's not like I don't drink water, I do. And I had to actually stop using my eye creams because they were burning my eyes from them being so raw. But it's not like I'm using a new eye cream either, so I don't know if it's just the weather so dry or what's going on, but I cannot get enough hydration, and so because of it, I'm not going to be taking a whole lot of colors in the crease, so I guess that's a good thing that there's not a lot of mattes. Don't like how patchy this looks, but I have a feeling this has to do with the fact that my lids are so dry, it's not going to look the best. I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is called Electron. I'm actually going to mix it back with that first Dragonfly shade because I don't want it to be that deep, but I need it to be a little bit deeper so that I can have like a nice crease, so I can have a nice color. So I'm actually going to mix the Dragonfly and then Electron together. It's a little patchy right here. And that's not like, there's no dry skin there. The only part that's dry on my eyes right now are right in here and in here. I think it's my lids. I don't think it's the palette because I'm not having any patchiness on this side, but I'm having patchiness on this side. So I'm thinking it has something to do with my lids being a little dry, little more like freaking Sahara Desert right now. Let's move into the lid because I think that's really where we want to see this palette. So apparently the reason this palette was a lot cheaper was because it didn't have like a bunch of the special formulas and all that. I really don't know anything about Pat McGrath's special formulas or all the extra stuff she does to her shimmers, but This is really the only, I can't decide if I want to use this color or this color or this color. I can't decide. I kind of want to, oh my God, look at how beautiful that is. All right, there's that color, which is this one here, or this color right here, which feels like it's more of like a topper than anything. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's like a green, purple, duochrome. I can't tell. It's got some like really cool duochrome effects to it. I don't want to do pinkish. I want to either stick or this vibrant purple right here. Oh my gosh, look at that, you guys. I think I might take this one and then duochrome on top of it. What do you think? Yeah, let's try that. I'm going to take this vibrant purple here, which is called Megabyte, I believe. I'll have to double check on the website. Megabyte, and I'm going to apply that all over my lid. So beautiful. Yes, look at how beautiful that is. It comes off so soft. Holy hell. I'm going to take this color here, which is that duochrome. I think this is called Megabyte, and I'm going to use my finger. And let's just apply that right on top of the lid. I just love the shift that it gives. Do you see that? I'm going to take this shade called Lunar Champagne. Oh my gosh, that Lunar Champagne shade is beautiful. I'm just popping it right on the inner corners because I really want it to pop a little bit more. I am seeing a little bit of fallout with the palette, but not too much. But you can definitely dust it away and you'll be good to go. This shadow is so beautiful. It's so intense. I wonder what her other mattes are like. I did not expect this mahogany shade to be super intense. It really is. I'm just taking a clean blending brush and I am just going to buff it out on the lower lash line because it is very intense. Let me go ahead and pop on some lashes really quickly. So I finished off the rest of my face. I added some lashes, of course. I almost didn't add lashes. I was actually just gonna wear mascara with it because it looked really cool by itself, but I thought, why not? It's the weekend. I normally don't wear lashes during the week anymore, so I kind of wanted to jazz it up a little bit, and then I just paired it with a pink lip to kind of enhance the eyes. So I did go in with the Kylie Cosmetic liquid. So that is today's video, you guys. I just really wanted to show you guys a look using the palette. I'm definitely going to play around with it more. I think this palette definitely deserves to be played around with a lot more. And I'm going to play around with it, maybe do some eye looks, kind of definitely probably do some eye looks over on Instagram. So if you guys want to see more looks using this palette, make sure you are a part of my family over on Instagram so you can see some more of the looks that I create with this palette. But you guys let me know if you guys picked this palette up or if you guys own any of the Pat McGrath palettes and maybe you bought this one, what your thoughts are as far as like the comparison goes or, you know, whatnot. I just want to hear your thoughts on this palette so far. So to check out any of my newest videos right here that you guys haven't already caught up on, and I will see you guys all later. Bye.